In conversation with some fascinating ladies who've changed the game in the world of video, music, and gaming. Only on Hungama's Women Game Changers podcast.
Hi, welcome to another episode of Hungama Game Changers, where we celebrate 50 women from the world of music, film, and gaming who are changing the game entirely. There are some people whose paths don't go in a straight line. They zigzag, they expand, they break the route that has been taken before. And the person I am speaking to has been inherently uncontainable. Kubra, it's a delight to have you here with us.
You don't have a teleprompter there.
You have.
What was that? So calm, composed, you knew every word. So good.
Because it's so true, Kubra,
thank
about
you.
you. You have been a live host, you've been an actor, you have been, you are doing comedy, you are also trekking around the world. So, really currently you're doing a whole lot of everything.
And rafting and diving. Yeah.
Anyway, welcome to Hungama Game Changers, and we're delighted to have you.
Thank you. Thank you very,
And I
very
think
much.
what makes
This is
it-
so cool. Leadership series. This is so amazing.
And I think what's interesting, Kubra, is that yours is really not the road many people have taken. You've been unconventional in your choices. You have been unconventional in the path that you've taken after the meteoric success, as well as after the gaps. Tell me a little bit about the journey and kind of getting here.
I feel like when I moved to Mumbai when I was 27 in 2010, and that was when I had like a stable job and everything, right? Nothing felt more gutturally right. Like I wanted to be in Mumbai. I don't know why. I just wanted to be here.
As a
And-
fifth generation Bombayite, welcome, and we get it.
Thank you. It is such a cool city. I remember coming here for this drag meet where C-Link was still under construction, and it was like not
Right.
even like a quarter built, okay? It was just like a slab in the middle of the ocean. And they had taken these supercars.
Yes.
And they had taken these super bikes, and they were like racing it on that road. And I was hosting that
Oh, nice.
as like a really youngling, from Bangalore, still hosting. And I knew that was my space. I knew I would get, I drew a lot of energy from that. But then I guess I was trying to, fulfill other like boxes. You have a degree, you need to like get a job. Like this is not really considered a job as such, right? So I went, I found job, did all of that. Felt like I was in the wrong Lego box.
Yeah.
I was not that. Like, no, I was wrong. I was not the
Built
piece
for
that
it.
fit there. I was a piece and I fit somewhere, but I didn't fit there. And that realization, and I think that awareness is what brought me here. But what's kept me through and through? To answer that question, I think I really had nothing to lose. Like, I had nothing to lose. That is the greatest form of freedom. Like,
Yeah,
I
it
could
is.
rewrite my story in as many ways as I was open to experiencing it. Like, literally. Like, I don't think any plan would have worked. It was just literally rolling, tumbling. And then, just gathering moss along the way. It was just very interesting, I guess, even for me. So when I look back, I'm just like,
I think
We're all
also
right.
that-
We've-
I think that
we're
also
okay.
reflects in a lot of the projects that you ended up then being a part of.
What
They're
I-
also unconventional.
like what I liked that you noticed is that you said, I made unconventional choices.
Yeah.
But I guess at the end of the day, you don't know if your choice is unconventional or not until it's been taken and it has run its course. And then you see the outcome. And then really the outcome can be to whatever metrics you
Yeah.
choose to put it against, right?
Yeah.
I think I've been a meteoric success story. So
Yeah.
because that's how I metric it,
Absolutely.
So, wow, it's pretty damn good, yeah. And I really feel I'm just getting started. And that, I guess, is the hunger that keeps you, I don't know, alive. Because if you're not alive in this industry, then that's when, that stagnation, that fear of irrelevance, and
Yeah.
all of that starts to set in. But the minute you realize that you're alive in this and you're enjoying it, and everything around it is just a part of the business and not a part of the art.
Yes.
Oh, that's a freeing process. So I think slowly as that is settling into my psyche and I'm using it as everyday lived life, it's confirmation bias. It's working. I'm alive. I'm enjoying doing what I'm doing. It's
Yeah.
exciting to create. There was a very large part of my career where I really thought that it was the others who saw potential in me. In fact, I remember first TED talk that I gave. I said, sometimes you don't know what your potential is, which is true. And you need to really let the people around you, your society, the people who you hang out with, connect with you and tell you what your potential is. And I think like that, Salman Khan was that person for me in Reddy. Because
Yeah.
he pointed out and he said, "Arey, usko line do." And I was like, hey, I'm head made, And I used to give a lot of credit to the external world to say, oh, you noticed talent in me. But I think something shifted between the 35 and the 40. And I'm just like, I see it.
Good.
I see it. So now I want to invest in the ideas and dreams that I have. And it just makes me feel alive to continue doing. And maybe that's why it's a new journey.
I know.
Every
Okay,
day.
so now I'm gonna actually dive very quickly into the new journey part of it.
Was that a very long answer?
No, that's absolutely fine.
How long do we have for this series? Is it like a 15-minute thing, 30-minute thing,
typically
2 hour
it's about
thing?
an hour, but many people go over.
Okay, then I'm comfortable because I have all the time today. As you know.
Yes, I do know. What I wanted to... You are starting this new journey, right? You're getting into comedy, which I think is... And you're going to do stand-up. You're already doing it. But it's a brand new format for you. And I think in some ways, I think you're uniquely suited or, perfectly suited for it because you're confident. Your speaking skills are great. You can keep it tight. You know how to tell a story. And you're intelligent and aware. It all really has to come together. I think comics are some of the smartest people in the room.
I
right?
love the art form. I've been a huge fan of the art form. And just to be able to go and and I don't want to go and dip my fingers in this, all right? I want to immerse myself into this art form.
Absolutely.
I want to see where it goes, really. I'm so excited.
What brought about the pivot?
The reality show. I was on this reality show and I had lots of time and zero stimulants.
Right.
Really, the only thing that was reactionary there was just the atmosphere of being in the reality show. But otherwise, there was dead silence in the air.
Right.
Right? I'm not kidding you. They truly deprive you of any inspiration
Yeah.
in a reality show. So there is no, anything you see around you is unalive.
Yeah,
This
there's
is
no distraction,
alive.
right?
This is alive. We were in the basement. I spent a lot of time in this area called the basement where we didn't even see green.
Right.
And then I had this one week in this place called the Penthouse. The plants were fake. I'm telling you, you are starved of any sort of inspiration. And there was no other place to go but deep within. And I literally was like, I'm going to stop relying on other people's voices. I'm going to go back and I'm going to tell my story. And I was like, I've told my story. I've written a book.
Yeah.
But then I realized the way I speak, and when people read my book, they were like, dude, you've got candor in it. The way you've dealt with the shit storm that's come in your life, right? Which has in most of our lives.
Yes.
You've dealt it with this candor. And somehow every
and brutal
story
honesty
feels
is the
like a
only thing
hero
that
story.
connects. Yeah.
And I really think it was my own perspective of myself. So I was like, how long am I going to sit around saying, oh, I'm work in progress. I'm work in progress. Let's just own this hero story, tell it, and let's just give it a shot. I've never
Right.
tried anything like this. And I have so many friends. And it's so bizarre because I've never spoken about this. No one knows that I'm doing this. And this is the first time I'm having this conversation.
Only on...
Really, I have not had this conversation. And I've been quietly going and doing open mics. So like
Yeah.
last night was my 7th open mic, right?
I was so
And I
tempted
did
to
like
make
2
you- to
shows
tell
a
you,
night.
I'm going to
doing
make
2
you
shows a
stand
night.
and do a bit, but
No,
I think
we'll
we
do it.
will let that happen maybe in a year.
Yeah, in a year. Yeah. October. Yeah, so I was just like, let's go and try a different format. And in the process, I learned something new. And I've been someone who's been really fortunate to be able to learn on the job.
Yeah.
I didn't go to acting school, but I was really blessed and fortunate to be in situations, scenarios, and sets where I have found incredible mentors, even from producers. Like in my book, I've written about this producer called Jayu, who is the producer of Jawani Jaane Man. And I remember having a really terrible day on set because I could not see the lines. It's one shot and I took 24 takes. And Saif is my co-actor. And I was frazzled. Like, oh my God. And then finally, and it's the last day we have the set. So we can't even come back. It's live looking. It's so pressure. And I'm not getting the line. I'm just not. So bad. I'm slipping, tripping. It was so bad. And then I think at some point, Saif said, why don't you go take a break? So I went, I took a break, breathed, got myself together. Some 26th take, we got it. We lost light by like a minute after that. Everyone was happy. I was still in the frazzle zone because it was a lot for me. I went outside and I just started weeping. And I told Jayu, I'm so sorry. Because I really felt I had held up everybody, right? So that guilt set in massive. So I'm crying. And I said, Jayu, I'm so sorry. He's like, for what? I'm like, how is this guy so unaffected? Like, first of all, I'm weeping. Crying girls need to be consoled. And this guy's not even doing that. He's like, for what? So I said, because I took so much time and the tears went off, right? And he goes like, for that? What are you talking, man? Virat Kohli bhi kabhi kabhi duck pe out hota hai. And you're like, but he goes back to play again. And this is another day, but you'll come back tomorrow and it'll be a fresh day.
Yeah.
So this day is over. Let's go smash some beers.
Yeah.
And let's have a freaking good rest of the day. So I've had some incredible mentors along the way. And I guess there's been this intuitiveness to learn. And I want to do the same with anything that I try new, anything that I have curiosity with.
I actually think that your reaction is, I'm sure it's a lot. I mean, you know, you've got somebody who's fairly senior doing the scene with you. It's easy to get, it's natural to get frazzled. I also think that women do put a little bit more pressure on themselves to be ultra prepared and to be a little more perfect than everybody else in the room.
That's one way to very sweetly and generously put it, because in my head, I think my operating system was man operating system for a very long time. So if I failed, I can't even cry. The day I realized, oh no, I'm woman. Then I'm okay to like just be like, dude, it's okay. Like, it's fine. We'll get through this. I'm discovering this incredible feminine energy.
Yeah.
And the strength that's so ours.
No, yeah.
And I'm just owning it.
No,
and it's
I
really
think
fascinating because it's
also
new to me.
But I also think some parts, like you will almost never have a meeting with a woman who comes in unprepared. You know, never.
I've come unprepared for this.
No, you have followed up and reconfirmed. You have informed me that you're going to be 15 minutes behind.
On my way. Exclamation mark.
Still.
Oh.
You know, the reality is this is supposed to be a free-flowing conversation. But I do feel that, like I keep saying, that my favorite thing is when a woman leans forward and says in a meeting, I'm so sorry, just so that I can confirm that I understood this correctly.
And then
It's
the
my
man
favorite.
explains.
No, it's fantastic because actually she's understood it. She just wants you to hear what you just said in your own words.
It is so brilliant.
Yeah.
I'm learning this. And I'm very fortunate, that I have such strong, incredible women around me. And I actually realized that power within me only when I started attracting women into my life.
Yeah.
Like, I have been that person who used to be so unaware to say that, I've said this, I've taken pride in saying that, I have 5,000 numbers and 4,999 are guys. And one person is my mom. But I think as I've grown older, I've only now started saying, no, I have 40 friends who are girls, but I need just 4 of them.
Yeah.
Like, it's been such a shift, for me to recognize the power that my women have around me.
Yeah.
My awareness to open up to see that I can be exactly who I am. I was dismissing the fragility. I was dismissing the vulnerability in a way, because I was raised very differently, like a very boom, 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 right? Like for me, it was survival. So it was very and just to be able to peel that layer off and to see the softness within. And I was so unaware at one point. Like, apparently there's a thing called the pick me girl.
Yeah.
Right? Like, pick me girl. Yeah. I used to be that person. And then I heard about it in a roundtable interview, and I was like, God, I used to be that person. Yeah. I've been that person.
I think at some point or the other, a lot of us have been that person, where you've jostled for...
You too?
I think everybody has. I'm certain I have. And I think at different points in your life, you start realizing, I don't need to be that person. I don't need that validation from everyone else. I'm okay. I think, as this year, I feel like I hit a milestone. And I think over the last 3-4 years, I have been already feeling, entirely enough.
It's a big feeling.
Yeah, it is. And it's, it suddenly, hit me. And then I realized I don't think of all of the things that I choose to do now. I don't think of them as reinventing myself. I just think of them as extensions to my own personality. And so,
all of this was always there.
Yeah.
I am just that archaeologist.
Yeah.
And I'm finding the jewels hidden. And they're mine.
Yeah.
They're my inheritance. They come from the knowledge that's stored in my cells. This is really important stuff. And only when you go and feel so powerful from the very root of it. And I understand, oh my God, this may sound so casual for some, or it's very easy to say, but this ease, I think, comes after a lot of thappad. Too many thappad happened. Okay. And I'm like, wow. There is this Instagram handle where, I'm not kidding you, people slap each other. It's a slap competition.
I can volunteer to be the...
No, you don't want to.
I want to be the slapper.
No, but it has to. If you slap,
you have to get it back also. No.
It's a competition.
I don't think I can take it.
No. And they're slapping each other. It is so satisfying to watch. It is so...
No, but there are times in my life
I'm why are people going through this pain? And they are. It's a competitive sport, and bam! And they wear those teeth guard and everything. It's nuts. You must give it one chance.
No.
Please. I request you.
No, I think
we need to have more smash rooms in Mumbai.
Fine china in a room like they do in Japan. I could be that person. I could be that person that would fling plates just to kind of get this energy out. I think that's just...
Yeah, I think we need to have more smash rooms
in Thalassa.
Yeah.
It used to be my favorite thing.
I used to think it was a little
I didn't care.
Flamboyant.
I didn't care.
I'm introvert at that time and everyone is bringing plates. I'm doing it everyday life. I'm like, yes, I don't want to. No, thank you.
No. I actually entirely could. Tell me, one of the things that, being an artist, being an actor in the field today and for the last how many ever years, has always been driven by convention. Like I said, you have been very, very unconventional. Being unconventional as a woman is harder than being unconventional as a man in the industry, simply because I think there's a lot more expectation, and also there's a lot more work out there for somebody in a much more conventional kind of space, right? Did you feel that gender was playing a role, not just obviously in the roles you were getting, because that's a gendered thing, but also in the way you were sort of being able to negotiate the industry?
I had heard a lot because I'm not from here. So all I had was rumors, and all I had was stories, and all I had was news.
Yeah.
But I didn't have any personal connect. So it wasn't lived experiences, people I knew,
Right.
or anything. But that news was a scary place to come into and navigate.
Yeah.
So I knew that. But then, as I mentioned, I was very masculine.
Yeah.
I used to wear pretty skirts and all that stuff. Please don't get me wrong. I wore makeup.
But energy.
But energy was very masculine. So I kind of knew how to navigate in this world. And I was very bullish about what I wanted. I knew I had no time to waste. I'd given myself 6 months. And I just needed to pay the bills. So I really didn't have time to focus on places that let me meander. This is just me talking about myself, right? And even through that bullish, navigation system that I had through it, like I am a very friendly person. I can talk to everyone. So I used to just talk to people, and I used to make connection at a very human level. So everyone was okay to befriend me in a certain way, but I was not friends with anyone.
Right.
Because I was still learning about people. Today, after 15 years in this city, which I now call like my own, and I feel like I belong here, I say I have friends, I have a support system. But at that time, I guess I was just going from one thing to the other, and I was really gathering no more. I had no time to go inwards. I had no time to sit and, then go deep into like who's going through what, this is what's happening. I was very like that, just canceling the noise outside and I was like, if I get to it, I'll cross it. Like I'll cross the bridge when I get to it. If the world is a harsh place, which it is,
Yeah.
I crossed the bridge when I got there. Some things are really hard when you are really confused about what's happening in that room, in that space. But I think I always moved from experience to experience, situation to situation, without tagging it good or bad, as an experience of what it taught me at that time. Because really, I think the one thing that has kept me unorthodox has been my spirit to look at myself as a project. What am I learning? Where am I growing? And that might be a very do thing, which is a very masculine thing, but it's kept me safe and sane in my head. But only when I connected with myself and went deeper was when the walls started to shed down. So that allowed me to navigate. But now I have that skill set of navigation. And now I can choose to be more gentle with it as I move on. I think I've become a more receptive person over the years. I understand my privilege, where I come from. I've seen the value and the importance of what my mom did, because my mom was very masculine, right?
Yeah.
But I understood her femininity over these years. Like she's truly become one of my girlfriends.
Right.
And there was a time when she was my girlfriend, but it was a token.
Yeah.
We really didn't share.
Yeah.
Like yesterday, my mom and I had a chat about something that was really important and meaningful to her. Just to be able to hold space for each other.
Yeah.
We didn't do that earlier. My mom was always my mom. My mom has never not looked out for me through my business, because, my first 8 years of being in this business, I think I was navigating by myself. I. But it was my mom. She was my manager.
Yeah.
I had to not think about speaking my dreams aloud. I never had a moment where I had to doubt myself, because no matter what I said, it echoed back, and it was my mom. Yeah. And it was only in the last 5 years, when I was now navigating through a new set of challenges, when I learned how important her voice was. And it was always in the affirmative. She was always supportive. But today our relationship is very different. And that also is valuable. But it took me some time to get there with my mom. And to recognize that, oh my God, she's actually not masculine. She's super feminine. Like,
She's just strong.
She's very strong. And then I could see that. It's bizarre, but like a holiday that I took with my mom, and there was this time when we used to take a yearly holiday together. We used to go to one new country and discover it together. It was our thing. And we once went to Venice, and we were having like a meal. And I asked, and this is in my book, I asked my mom, I said, Mom, what did you like really want to be when you like grew up? Like, and she said, I wanted to be a princess. And I had never heard that from my mom.
Yeah.
I was like, Mom, you're a queen, man. She's like, no, I want to be a princess. And there's such a difference.
There is such a difference.
Yeah.
There is such a difference. It's like my daughter, who's 20, one day looks at me, she's just exhausted and says, can't I just be a stay-at-home daughter? And I was just like, actually, that's the best place to be in the whole world. You know?
Yeah, it's fortunate for those who find that security. And I think the generation today...
As somebody who fought to
I fought.
Work.
I escaped, run.
Fought to stay back at 7:30, so I'll be taken seriously by my colleagues. And then by somebody who was very clear, I look at her and say, I'm so sorry, I don't think you realize the fights we have had at home. We would fight at home so that we could be at the office, then fight at the office so we could leave at 7:30 so that we would be allowed to come back to work the next day.
For you!
For you.
So that your homework would be done.
Yeah, and this generation.
And you are ungrateful.
Yeah. And
so much sacrifice.
And it's going to be a generation of fashion influencers.
I feel the generation today is very self-reliant on their emotions. They understand the value of nature. They understand the value of the self. They're finding their way. But they are very
and I think they don't apologize for their feelings.
I think it's that very tricky, like, little path where self-importance may become like the alternate to self-care.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But I think they'll figure it out. Even if they go towards that side, they'll come back. We all have been there.
No, and I also.
But I feel at least that the direction in which they're having this conversation, where they aren't like afraid to say boundaries, bitches.
Oh my God, I
like that. Yeah.
No,
like, it's hard, but it's hard because we don't know it, right?
Period, I'm not
it's really hard for us,
work.
not really hard for them. It's their behavior. It's new behavior for us.
Yeah, it's
but it's their behavior.
Yeah.
It's very natural to them, and it's fascinating. I'm like, itna easy ho sakta hai kya? Ho sakta hai.
Kubra, we talked about talking easily. You look like you have always belonged into any room that you walk into. Does imposter syndrome ever become a thing?
Yeah, 100%. And it's bizarre because I think we all have it, right? And it's amazing. Like the woman brain is outstanding, all right? I had a legit panic attack, which led into an anxiety attack. And I went for acupuncture and I inhaled hydrogen and I lay in bed and nothing worked. Like for 2 days until I had slept it out. All right. And do you know where it stemmed from? A failed yoga class.
No.
Yes.
What do you mean by failed yoga?
Like I went to yoga. I've not been in practice for 3 months. I've been out of practice. But in my brain, I thought I could do it. But my body didn't permit me to do it. And
whatever
and
ultimate asana that you were hoping to.
No, like I thought I'll be able to, like, how hard can bird, cat, cow be, dude? Like, and I wasn't able to, like, my body felt contorted and like tight. And the pain that was sending to my brain, it was literally like, you are absolutely useless. You're so worthless now. Like, so stupid you are.
I think yoga is not about pass and fail.
It isn't, but who's telling you this then?
Correct.
This is you telling yourself then, and I do yoga. I'm very good. I do it every day. And it doesn't matter if you're good or not in yoga. And that's the most incredible part of yoga, right?
Yeah.
Like, you can submit to the ground in that moment, and none of this wisdom is there. Wisdom has left the basement. I am there in a puddle of sweat and tears, and I couldn't finish my class. I rolled up my mat, and I have just like had an out-of-body
Felt awful,
experience.
yeah.
Yeah. And I've just said, I'm sorry, I'm leaving. Howling that I am useless and worthless. No, I had a bad yoga class.
And did you
It has
ever
nothing to do with me.
Yeah. And did you ever get to why you were putting this pressure on yourself?
No, it was just a hard day. And it
was a
happens
hard
to all
day.
of us.
Yeah, it does. It does sometimes.
And there is so much humility. See, it took me 2 days to understand that it happens.
Yeah.
Like, to all of us. But I'll tell you this. The journey of something as stupid as a failed yoga class leading to a panic attack that lasts for 2 days, right? Is self-improvement.
Right.
This would have taken me 2 months. I would have not gone back to yoga class. I would have never found another teacher. I would have complained about it. I would have made this about me. And it would have been about me.
Yeah.
But now I just learned that my body needs rest. And I need to honor what my body needs. And I need to just sleep and watch some TV and hydrate. And I'll go try another yoga class. And I went back like 2 days later. And I'm fine. So the imposter syndrome is real, but you learn how to overcome it. You learn
What are
that
the tools you use? What are the tools you use?
the tools that I use are definitely meditation and breath work. 100%. Acupuncture as a modality has really helped me. Yoga helps me. I ensure, the thing is that the tools that will work for you when you're having the panic attack are the tools that you're consistently using before the panic attack.
Yeah.
Like, you should know how to use, like, you should become the master of these tools. So when you're having a panic attack, you know which tool to hold on to. And you know how to work this tool. So where you need breath work, if you're going to use hydrogen, it's not going to work. Right? Or where you need a massage,
Yeah.
and you're going and lifting weights, it's not going to work. So the idea is to incorporate all these tools in your everyday life. So then you are not surviving. Your tank is always full.
Yeah.
And then one day out of the ordinary, which could be whenever.
Yeah.
And I have realized that over the years, the space in between the panic attacks or the space in between the imposter syndrome has actually, the gap has widened.
Yeah.
So I'm doing pretty good.
Yeah.
In that sense. It's
That's
not
actually
something
all
that
you can that's what you count as.
Yeah. So I'm not expecting stupid perfection every day. That was me earlier, which made me more tolerant. And fuck tolerance. You shouldn't need to tolerate anything.
Yeah.
You should be able to speak your truth. And when you speak it at the right time, it is conveyed gently. I always used to miss the meter. I would miss the meter. I had to speak at 0. I would speak at 100.
Right.
So the intensity is higher. So 2 people in this conversation are fucking confused.
Correct.
So then I had to reduce it and then lower it down. Today when I hit the meter at like 10, I am mega happy with my effort. And I don't want to be 0.
Yeah.
That would be ridiculous. That would be lack of life force.
Yeah.
You know? I'm able to deal with it better. I'm able to recognize it better. I need to honor the growth that I've had. I cannot keep living in like the negative space of it. This
Yeah.
I am enough
Yeah.
needs to happen at wherever you are.
Yeah. Yeah.
There is no proverbial time or space
No,
where you will feel comfortable.
You have to stop living in that, once I'm able to finish this, then I can
Correct.
do this. That then is...
Then, sorry, can you
moving
say that
goalpost.
in leadership series?
Yeah. Don't worry about that.
Yeah. My God, yeah. That's pretty fascinating. Like, it is so good when you find that.
Tell me, you have just the way you are, the way I've seen you interact, you have always been one with the boys' club, right? That's never been an issue for you, which has otherwise been a form of gatekeeping for a lot of women who, don't know how to kind of make,
Yeah, I'm
bridge
like,
that
hey,
gap.
what's
Correct.
up, brother?
Because
oh my
so many
God,
conversations
so-
happen in that bhaichara, right?
Yeah.
So
They're confused. They don't know what to do with this pretty girl in a little black dress who talks like a guy. They don't know what to do.
No, but fine.
Then I just
Into
took that
you're
as
just having a
my
conversation.
unique spirit, like.
So how do you feel like it's worked for you? How do you feel like it's worked against you? And more importantly, how can more women get to that point where they just go in and have that conversation? It's just another person, right? Because it's
So
very
this is an
daunting for
exercise that I
youngsters.
do every day where like I look in the mirror and I talk like serious good shit to myself. I look at myself in the mirror, I look at my green eyes, and I talk to myself every day in the mirror. All right? And I tell myself how freaking amazing I am. And it's so bloody important for me to get out and do what I do because it brings me so much joy. And then I'm talking shit like it feeds my cats. And I keep it as real can be. And I literally tell myself every day that the only expectation that you have from yourself today, Kubra, is to go there and have fun. So are you willing to do that? And it's a conversation. It's a serious one to have. And I've been having these conversations for very many years now. And it's only when I haven't had fun when I know I've not been in the right place. But then it's either a commitment or whatever, right? My only, I don't know, advice sounds so bad. But like, if I have to like share with like my women friends, I really think we have to like live outside the box of fear. Because like I went to Brahmaputra recently, right? It was a mad experience, okay? It's like crazy adrenaline. We were going through like grade 5 rapids. You know the rapid is going to be over, but I'm not kidding you that 1 minute of the rapid,
Out of body.
boss, it is out of body, you're not there, all right? And I came back and I told a friend of mine this, and you know what he said? Arey vah, Kubra Seth, you are now fear-free. You are not fearless.
Oh, lovely.
And I really think as women, we need to be fear-free. Fuck the fearless.
Yeah.
You know? Let's stop saying we are good enough. We are good or we are enough. Like, just make up your mind. Stop playing in your contradictions.
Right.
You want to go have that conversation because you believe in yourself. Go have that conversation. There is no one in that room who can deny you. And this is my firm belief. If I was operating, I was operating from man brain, right? What gave me that fake confidence, like that fake it till you make it,
Right.
the energy was real. I have never been in a room where I didn't feel comfortable being.
Yeah.
I listened to myself. And if I went into that room, I maximized that room with my energy. I'm someone who takes from everyone. Take what you can, leave what you can, and out. That was not the rest of your career. That is not your profession. That's not who you are. That was one evening.
Yeah.
Look at it as that. You made something, you didn't make something. You chose to be there, fulfill that duty, and make the most of it that day. Go home, take a saltwater bath, and forget about it.
Yeah, correct. Good, bad, leave it on the
Just
field.
leave it. Just leave it all behind. You're very fortunate to be able to be in that room because you earned that space for yourself. No one's gifted us anything. No one's handed us over anything. So let's stop questioning ourselves.
No, I actually think that really especially as women in the workforce, you earned it, man.
You earned it, man. In any room, like if I'm sitting with a producer, if I've met someone, if it's insane. Just please do this for yourself. Be fear-free. I think that is like when I came to Bombay, I really had nothing to lose, right?
Right.
That was me being fear-free. If I was worried about the outcome of the situation of Mumbai, of it being new, I really knew nobody. I knew nobody. I didn't have one friend in the city. Everyone here in the city is new to me. I had nobody in this city.
But I have to tell you, that is a Bombay reality for so many people who call it home.
Correct. But Rons, I did this in Dubai also. And I can do this anywhere in the world.
Yeah.
And to know that you will receive what you give. The world is your mirror. And whatever you're giving is what it's reflecting back to you, right? In the good, in the bad, in the ugly, or whatever are the labels you choose to give it. At the end of the day, human beings are not different from each other. It's our perspectives.
Yeah.
Really. And it's a kaleidoscope of perspectives. Choose to pick your perspective for the day and make peace with it.
Kubra, at what point?
Wow, this is so big, this conversation.
No, the conversation goes, like I said, it's free-flowing.
My
We will let
God.
it go wherever it's going.
What is this? What are we having?
They're all thinking there's vodka in that. At what point, maybe in, like when you felt like, oh my God, this is real. It could have been a great moment or it could have been a terrifying moment. At what point did you feel like, okay, now I truly do belong. I no longer have to fake it?
Sacred games for sure.
Yeah.
You can't take that away.
A really unconventional choice, right?
So apparently in my astrological chart, I am a Aquarius moon, which is like a dichotomy in itself.
Okay.
Yeah. So it is the representation of like contradictions,
Okay.
of being unconventional. And it's already there. So I was just born with
correct.
it. So now
You
I
were.
just don't even take any credit for it. And then there's this other thing in my chart, which is the sign of Lilith. Do you know Lilith?
I have no idea.
Oh, wow. Okay. So this is all going to go in my stand-up, by the way. But it's really fun. Okay. So Lilith is dark feminine energy.
Okay.
And she was sent away from the Garden of Eden. She was sent away.
Before Eve.
Yes.
Before the apple.
Yeah. Because she is this woman who does not believe in conforming to the rules. And she was sent away. She's
I believe
dark
that.
feminine energy. And it's there in my chart. And it's there in all of our charts. It's there. Even men have it. We all have. Because we all have feminine, masculine
Right.
energies. But mine's like there in my performance or my work thingy. So it's so interesting that something so unconventional was the one that gave me
Yeah.
the recognition. And I didn't know all of this until like yesterday, by the way. I went and did birth chart yesterday. That's why it's all so fresh. I'm not speaking from like, wow, years of experience. Yesterday. So all of this is new knowledge. I learned this yesterday. But yeah, it was fascinating to know that it was this unconventional character that I felt so connected with. It was emotionally the most empowering thing I had done.
You know, I was
It
doing
was so
research
freeing. Wow.
before we did this chat, and I said, what does Kubra, and what Google finished for me was identify with as a gender. And I realized that at some point in some interview, there is somebody who has actually taken the pains to identify that Kubra identifies as a cis female, because I think you were just
Dude, there
so
was-
incredibly believable.
Dude, there was a Google poll.
There you go. Because I think after Sacred Games, you were. I think, you know, it was a great role. It was a very unconventional role, a role that made a lot of people, like all great art, uncomfortable. It's also one of my favorite books. So, you know, but I also think that, it, you know, when it creates enough of a question in enough people's minds, you've done something right. right? Because you essayed that.
I think people gave me the courage to believe that what I had done was right. It's so bizarre that there must have been like, the riffraffs of the world. But the love that I got
Yeah.
for Cuckoo was so big.
Yeah.
I don't care about those two riffraffs.
No, there
They
will always
felt
be people
like
who comment.
two. And I don't care about two.
Yeah.
I don't care about none. I have none to give. Really. Because the love outpoured, the community accepted me as one of their own.
Yeah.
My circle of existence became bigger because of Cuckoo. It was so empowering for so many people. It blew my mind because you're not prepared for this, right? But like 6 months later was when Section 377 was like given the boot.
Yeah.
And Cuckoo and Gaitonde became like the poster children of the movement.
Yeah.
Love is love.
Yeah.
What more could I have asked? It was way bigger than me. It was way bigger than the role. The character was just...
Were you scared when you were auditioning for it, or were you
No.
anxious about how it would be received?
No, not at all. There I was wholeheartedly
And you knew this is
relying...
the role for you?
No. I didn't know the role was for me. I didn't know... Like, I was definitely having fun. I knew I was doing something unconventional. I was really excited that I was working with Nawazuddin Siddiqui.
Right.
And this is really bizarre, and I've said this a few times, but I don't know if it ever lands, all right? I'm not kidding you. I think a year or something before I was on the set of Sacred Games, there was a press conference. And Anurag Kashyap, Nawazuddin Saif, Radhika, Vikram, everyone was on that panel. And I had heard about the announcement of this project called Sacred Games on Netflix, and it was a press conference. I had seen it.
Correct.
And there was this voice inside me, I want to do something in this universe. I had said this, and about a year and a half later, when I had no idea, I was actually on that project. And I'd never associated the two.
Right.
It was only many years later when that conference popped up, and that I was like, I had
Oh my
secretly
God.
wished for this.
Yeah.
And I had even forgotten about it. It was insane. Like, so it's really important, I guess, to be, I don't know, saying or letting or straining the good thoughts or the thoughts that empower you to like lead
And keep
the way.
telling yourself, this is what I want.
Lead with those thoughts.
Ask.
And then they will go and settle, and then they will appear when they need to.
No, I
So
do believe
interesting.
that it's only when you clarify to your own self, and whether you believe this from an energy point of view or just from a, reinforcement to your own conviction point of view. If you have to say it to yourself often
Say it.
enough before you believe it, and then you remember to go out and do something about it every day. Okay. One of the things that that happens a lot in your profession, right, is it's constant. Everybody has a comment, and in the world of social, it becomes every day, everywhere. How do you let that kind of wash over you? Does it become something that impacts you emotionally in your profession, mentally, or is that something that you're able to put in a box and kind of lock away?
There are days when I really don't differentiate between my job as an actor or a job or a day at the office. Really. There are days, like, now you've got the wisdom to understand, like, someone cares. Like, you understand that, right? Like, our work is very human. Right. So you understand if this person is really thinking, for the betterment of this moment, this emotion, this whatever, right? So you allow them. And then there are days when you just don't want any of this, and you have enough confidence in yourself.
Emotional battery, social battery down.
बस, कि बस इतना ही कर सकता है मैं, तुमको जो बोलना है तुम बोलो.
Yeah.
Right? I think I operate with that energy. It's like going to the office and saying, this is what I got to do, it's my to-do list, finish it and then go home. It's fine. You don't have to every day have one creatively, like, liberating day. It's not possible. But does the aggregate of what you do bringing you joy? Yeah. But I think I didn't answer your question. What was your question? It went somewhere.
How does the constant commentary, the comments on social, just like the
Yeah, those voices, right?
voices? I mean, because at the end of the day, you put yourself out there.
So what do I
Saying
do? Wait, this is a
public-
very good question. I didn't answer that question. Wait, that was an interesting question. Wait. You know that thing that you said, like in the boardroom? That's what I was coming to with the office space thing, to be honest. You remember what you said? Like, it fascinates you when a woman is sitting in a boardroom and then she says, I'm sorry, could you just explain that so that I can understand?
Yeah.
That is a great tool to deal with these opinions and comments.
Yeah.
And this could be like literally at an unknown level, which is an Instagram comment, okay, which could be really like hideous. And you can just be like, I'm sorry, I don't know what you mean.
Yeah.
And it startles them. All right. And you can have this conversation with even a director of yours,
Right.
who is just not having that conversation with you.
Right.
This, I think, question of, sorry, I didn't
It's
understand,
no. You
is
did.
a great
Yeah.
tool
Yeah.
to use. And it can be used anywhere. And I
No,
use it. Literally, I try my best to use it. And that allows me to not be affected. Because I am not taking every word they say at face value. I can't.
No, you can't.
I can't. And I don't want to. And I will not. That is my decision. Now, that's my boundary. My boundary. Like, I will not take the harshness in your words be the mirror to my self-worth. No.
Yeah, that seems like a you problem.
That is a you problem. But if I really care to make a difference to your life, because I'm like, yaar, isme dard to bahut hoga, aisa itna likhne ke liye, he must be really like
I have
bleeding
to
with
say,
1,000 cuts, yaar.
No,
you know,
no. Yeah,
this
it
guy
is.
is very sad. Then I can ask him, are you okay? And that really becomes one of my outlets. And I don't do this every day, but I'm not shy of doing it.
Right.
I'm not shy of getting away with the trolls with, like, oh, please. like once a person said, ma'am, can you please tell me, are you really a woman, man, or trans or something like that? And I said, no, brother, I am 3 in 1, just like the mixer
Correct.
grinder in your mother's kitchen. Like, you need to find innovative ways to get out of this, because you're not going to change the world. If that's your perspective, then good luck, because then you are going to be very, very late and behind your schedule to do everything else that you're meant to do for yourself.
Right.
So let's just realize that your time is very valuable for you.
No, I think time, I think the way you handle your self, mental health, because I mean, that's just the reality of being in a public facing role, right?
Yeah.
It's every day, every Friday, it's a brand new story.
Again, it's the kind of pressure you choose to take
Yeah.
on yourself. Like for me, alhamdulillah, touch wood, I recognize my place in a bigger project. I recognize the stakes and my place when I'm doing something on my own. So then why am I giving 100% of my mind share to something that is not dependent on 100%? Like, my mind share is the representation of 100% of the outcome. Tum samajh rahe?
Right.
But I am giving 100% of my input. जब मेरा 10% आने वाला है यार उधर आउटकम, तो अंडरस्टैंड ना तुम कितना अटैच कर रहे हो इसमें. I get it. Do 100% for your character.
Yeah.
Do 100% for your role. Don't do 100% for business. उसने मार्केटिंग नहीं की फिल्म की, उसको ऐसा करना चाहिए था, उसने इतना होर्डिंग नहीं डाला, ओ ये लड़कियों के साथ होता है, ये लड़कों के साथ होता है, there is no value to this. These are all the stories you tell yourself. So I try to keep myself with my, like I go there and I do something about it every day for me.
Right.
If I'm making a difference for me, I feel at some level I'm making a change to the ecosystem that I'm working in. I need to be confident of that voice. It's not going to be it's not going to be big voice, big change.
Right.
Small voice can also be big change, small change, but voice is important. So then I stick to that. I listen to this. I know when feedback is real and genuine. And I take it with full awareness. I didn't understand. Can you elaborate for me?
Right.
I pick on that, I learn, and I move on. So it's not dismissing.
Yeah.
But come on, you need to know what to dismiss. Like my grandfather used to say something really funny, okay? So he used to meet stupid people, and that was his like pet peeve.
As do we all.
Yes, he cannot deal with stupid people. My grandfather, I love him. He's no more. God bless him. But he used to say, "Kya beta? जब अकल बांट रहे थे छन्नी पकड़ के खड़े थे." So when like God was pouring brains, were you standing with the strainer? I think today you need to stand with the strainer when you're listening to public comment, public opinion, public feedback. Stand there with the strainer. What needs to stick will stick. What needs to go will go. Attend to that with priority. Don't make everything yours. It's not your business to handle. तुम इतना stress. What are you talking about? ज़्यादा हो गया. So I think that transparency really helps. With people you love, what I'm learning through this conversation as well, and yeah, is that you need to have that space, safe space, where you can just not tell them angrily, but tell them gently that this is bothering me. And people who love you back in return will always support you. But they need to feel that love, and they need to be prepared to receive that love and then give it back to you. You just can't do it with a wall. Like your vulnerability needs to be met. And when it is, there is always change. There is always change. Change in heart, change in behavior, change in purpose. I really feel.
I think also in the way people handle you shifts.
It really shifts, yeah. Like even like now when I want to do films, I get excited to work with like new teams.
Yeah.
Like people who are new. I love meeting the ADs. Like I'm meeting like ADs from one film on another set. And now that journey is growing. So one day those ADs will be making a film.
Right.
Right. And it's nice because I feel like what I'm creating is not happening right now. My creation is in the making. So I'm working towards my creation.
I want to go back to comedy for a second. A lot of comedy comes from, and we talked about this before, right? A lot of comedy comes from not being fully healed. That being said, the same, concerns that we have in any industry, we have in entertainment also exist in comedy, right? Which technically should be rationally, like going to work in consultancy, should be gender agnostic, but it's not.
I like female comedian.
Yeah. Female comedian, correct.
So I am human comedian. I have decided. I'm going to go on stage also one day and say, "Good evening, I am human comedian."
Yeah.
I think we all should just refer to us as, I'm watching this crazy show on Apple TV called Pluribus.
Right.
You will not understand what the show is until the 6th episode. I have still not understood. But it's a mad concept, all right? It's like, in a flash of a second, the world has changed.
Right.
Like now, world has changed. Something's happened to the world where the whole world has become happy-go-lucky, satisfied, content. There's no precedent. Everyone is there for everyone. Okay? The entire humanity has become that. And there are 12 people in the world who are not affected by this. And what is happening to these 12 people? And the protagonist of the entire series is this girl called Carol. And she's like, humanity cannot be like this. Like, you have to have a level of dissatisfaction.
Change can only come from dissatisfaction.
She's like, your people. And literally these humans, right, are like, what's your name? And then he says, you mean the individual you mean this individual, the name that this individual identified with? Such a trip. I'm like, it's so nice. We can actually start doing this in our real life. Like, when you mess up. Or you do something
no
good.
longer identify
Just be like,
with
I
the
didn't do it.
person.
This individual did it, and leave it at that.
I no longer identify with Ronak who failed.
I don't identify with Ronak Uvel. That individual, I don't. It's so good.
That is very cool. I like it.
And you
I
don't
will
realize
make it.
this till like the 7th episode. Till the 7th episode, you're like, what is happening in this world?
No, I think I
Tell
will
me
make
now,
it now
why
my
are these
go-to.
like, why is Carol so angry? Because she is, you should see.
When people say why, I'm going to say this. This is going to be my
That
go-to
individual-
bloody line. It's fantastic.
It's English.
Okay.
I like
I'm going to-
human, individual.
Yeah.
I'm an individual comedian, human comedian. I'm not this man, woman. I'm not identifying only now. I'm human.
In terms of, you've talked about a lot of people who you were very excited to work with. You've talked about people who kind of gave you space, held space for you. Tell me the people that you believe really, that you
Like
looked up
kicked me
to.
when I was down.
Yeah, there are those also, but okay. No, just who kind of mentored you and championed you when you didn't, just like a shout out to allies, yeah.
Wow, yeah, then that is like a lot of people. Like, wow. So
How blessed you are to have
very
many people in that list.
Very, very fortunate. In different parts of life and different, because I haven't done one thing, I've done so many things. So when I sit and like, look at the
Multifaceted number of mentors.
Baapre, like, wow, it's so amazing. So maybe we should take this opportunity to like say thank you to all the women,
Yeah.
so let's like jog this, then you can like edit between the
Sure.
pauses. Mom,
Yeah.
without fail. This morning I was talking about my grandmom, who's like the only alive grandparent I have. She's particularly ill right now,
I'm
but
sorry
she's
to hear
really
that, and I hope
old.
she's feeling better soon.
She's really old. She's lived a life, and I remember her gentleness, like her, just the way she would rub her fingers through my hair was immediate comfort. Like the way she would rub her fingers on my shoulder was immediate comfort.
Yeah.
And it didn't matter if I won or lost in life, she was always there. And I don't think I ever really thanked her for that. There was this woman who I had met in Durban in South Africa. She was the India head for Miss India Worldwide.
Okay.
Her name is Orna Ruchi Bose. She was the one who first told me, just come. When you come to Bombay, call me. And I called her. And she answered the phone. And she helped me up. She helped me with a place to stay that night because I had nowhere to go. So I want to say thank you to Orna.
Yeah.
Like,
That's incredible.
bizarre. Like,
Yeah.
she lives in Germany. She lives in Berlin. And I remember a few years ago, I went and I knew she was living in Berlin. So I called her and she took me out partying. And I didn't know that parties in Berlin started at like 2 a.m.
Yeah, they do. At 12 o'clock, it's empty.
At 12 o'clock, you're sipping drinks there. And I'm like, what? I should be in bed. So I want to thank Arna for that. Literally one of those first few people I came. I've had so many wonderful directors. Alankrita Srivastava,
Yeah.
very bold. I love meeting her and her energy is so pure and fresh. And I just feel like giving her a cuddle every time I meet her. I met Bhumi recently.
Yeah.
In Goa, and it was so nice. It was like two mad, wonderful, excited women cheering for each other. I've just done one film with her, and in my phone, Bhumi's number is still stored as Bhumi Casting. because she had auditioned me as an actor when I had come to Bombay. And then she went on to have her journey and we did a film together. And it just made me realize.
Yeah.
And then I have my set of girlfriends, you know, Vasuki, Gauri, Shayal, Aparna, Mona. These are all my girlfriends.
Yeah.
Reshma,
Yeah.
Ronak. They want to say thank you. Kajol, I want to say thank you to. She is fire. Fire. The energy that she brings in the set is so refreshing.
Yeah.
Come on then, let's do this. And it's so, like, there are no doubts.
Confidence.
It's
right?
confidence and it's done. And
But I have to say, confidence comes from craft also, right? And she's been able
she's so good.
so good.
She's so good. Again, it's so fascinating for me to listen to her speak because the one thing you can get out of a Kajol conversation in person or anywhere else that you see is honesty and truth. Like if she's in discomfort, it's on her face, in her eyes. And I think it's such a great quality to have subtitles on your face.
I actually think it's a great quality to prioritize authenticity over all else. There's no need to intellectualize.
So good at that.
And, yeah. And I
Yeah.
think that really kind of makes a big difference because you're not trying to sound, you just are.
So brave and she's so brilliant, yeah. Like one of the craziest experiences I've had and one of my most favorite experiences of working with a senior actor, someone I've looked up to. I was nowhere close to this space when she was and is, you know, at like the top of her game.
Right.
And I get to share space with her and a intimate space with her. Has been top of the pops. There are so many incredible women who. Do you remember anybody I might be missing out on? Because we have so
I'm going to
many people.
let you come up with your list yourself. In fact, one of the things that we ask everybody who sits in that chair to do is to give a shout out to 2 women they would like to see on next year's list. We have a jury, so they go on a short list, and then the jury goes through that.
Has Kajol been here?
No, so what we're trying to do is sort of we talk about the next generation of game changers, the ones who are sort of game changing right now. One of the things that we were very conscious of was that we did not want to talk about the people who have already beyond things. So there's a small list that really
Priyanka Bose
Yeah.
is crazy beautiful, amazing. Mrunal Thakur.
yeah. I think she has been on the list, but yeah, she's
She's
fantastic.
amazing.
Yeah.
Again, a Leo. I am a very huge admirer of Yami. Yami is so good. Again, unconventional, very silent. You don't see her anywhere. But you know that she means silent, serious business. Shraddha Kapoor is incredible.
Yes.
I love Sheba Chadda.
Nice.
See, now brain is opening. This feels after 1 hour of the conversation. Guneet Monga.
She's on the list this year with you.
Yeah. Yeah? You know, there is this incredible young girl who, why am I forgetting her name, yaar? Please, let's find it.
You can email it to me or message it to me.
But then it'll not be in this,
later.
no? The girl who's in, someone Google it for us, no? Girls Will Be Girls. The girl in that. Girls Will Be Girls is the name of the film. Richa Chadda.
Richa Chadda is very good.
She's amazing. She needs to be here. Preeti Panigrahi. This young little tiny bomb. You should listen to her acceptance speech at the Hollywood Reporter when she won. So empowering. So incredible. She's truly like, you know, she feels like with that kind of soft resilience, and if that is honored, We have a really new future.
No, I think actually it's
Really
fantastic.
good.
And
I love
do
Ananya's quiet confidence.
Ananya.
Ananya Pandey, no?
Yes.
I love Ananya Pandey, man. I love her father also, Chunks in it. love. Ananya is so good. Janhvi
I
is
actually
so
think
good.
that she's done a great job of dealing with a lot of the blowback on the whole industry kids thing, and has quietly kind of, cemented her place, not just earned her space.
How she got bullied also, Papa, but she took it very gracefully.
She took it and she handled it.
Big heart, yes, big heart.
I thought,
and it's good she wears it on her
I
sleeve.
think she's been a refreshing, and it was delightful to kind of see that unfold.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tell me, for the youngsters coming in, what is the one thing that you've had to unlearn? And what is the one thing that you think they should stop immediately?
First thing you have to stop doing immediately is building your perspective on what other people's perspective is. Be independent to form your own perspective towards things. And back your choices. Right. It's really a choices game. So please back your choices. And don't expect other people to come and be like cheerleaders when you make the right choice. And then don't be like, oh, saab mere ko aisa laat maar ke ja raha hai because I made bad choice.
Right.
Own your choice.
Own your choice.
Very important. And you need to know that this is not a straightforward business. It's a very non-linear business. One day you're up and up and up. And then for days you will feel the eclipse. This is not like eclipse will come, eclipse will go. No. It's a phenomenon when the eclipse happens. So, to have composure and to still believe that I chose this path.
Right.
And it is non-linear and it is unconventional. And I will not complain about this journey because there is nothing to complain about. I'm here because I chose to do this. Like most people asked me, oh, aapka struggle ke baare mein batao. I don't know why that tonality comes out naturally from me, struggle. And I'm like, if I was really working towards something that I wanted, then how is it struggle? Then it was perseverance. Then it was hard work. Then it was hustle. It was whatever, but it was not struggle. I was really enjoying the momentum and I kept at it because I really wanted it. And that's one thing I need to tell anybody who wants to do this, anybody who's already doing this. Like, you know that Sanjay Leela Bhansali, that Diya?
Right.
You have to keep it on. Yeah. No neighbor is coming and saving your mere Diya. No, you need to keep it on. It's your responsibility to keep that Diya on, to keep the light inside you on. And there is nothing else, really. If you do these three things, I think you're fine.
Okay. I think we're going to have to wrap up. But what a lovely conversation it has been. I think it's been meandering and it's gone beyond...
Cut off all the meandering parts.
...realms of what we typically have. But that is so much like you, Kubra. You will always color outside the lines. And thank you so much for being here, sharing the learning, shortening the learning curve for the many women who see you as an inspiration.
Thank you, Rana. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for being so warm and welcoming. Thank you for that great introduction without teleprompter. No, really nice.
Yeah, today
it was so nice. Thank you.
In conversation with some fascinating ladies who've changed the game in the world of video, music and gaming. Only on Hangama's Women Game Changers podcast.